My buddies at TYT covered a hilarious clip of Ted Cruz. He was on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd, and he was asked about immigration, and he put on a clinic in question dodging.
What do you do with the 11 million?
You know, it's an interesting thing in Washington. That is the question that both President Obama and Democrats love to focus on. How do you solve the problem? You focus on areas of common ground. I am long-term optimistic and short-term pessimistic on immigration. Long-term, I'm optimistic because there's a lot of bipartisan agreement outside of Washington on immigration. There's overwhelming bipartisan agreement. Number one, that we need to secure the borders, that we need to finally do something to stop illegal immigration.
What do you do with the 11 million people, though? Do you have to send them back, or do you give them a way to get legal?
Chuck, I don't accept the premise that you have to solve every aspect of this problem all at once. President Obama and the Democrats focus on that issue because the question you're asking is the most divisive partisan question in this entire debate. And I don't believe President Obama wants to solve this.
I understand that it's divisive, but it's still a problem.
But you don't have to solve every problem at once. Look, here's the problem.
That's fine, but explain how you do it.
I am explaining how. The last time Congress passed immigration reform was in the 1980s.
Right.
And Congress came to the American people with the following trade-off. Congress said there were 3 million people living here illegally. Congress said, we will grant amnesty to those 3 million. In exchange, we're going to secure the borders. We're going to solve the problem so that the illegal immigration goes away. Well, we all know what happens. The amnesty happened, and the border never got secured. And here's the sad truth. A lot of Republicans in the Washington cartel, they're all for amnesty too, because from the perspective of the Chamber of Commerce and Wall Street, it's cheap labor.
You still didn't say what you do with the 11 million.
Well, my view is, first, we secure the borders and solve the problem of illegal immigration, and then I think we can have a conversation about what to do about the people who remain here. I don't think the American people will accept any solution until we demonstrate, step number one, we can secure the border.
So anything's on the table. Potentially deportation or not deportation, but anything's on the table for the 11 million?
I think we should secure the border and then have a conversation at that point. Stop using the Washington approach of I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. The American people aren't going for it.
Ted Cruz is a classic sleazy politician because he frames everything that he's saying as if he's the straight talker, and he's the one that's keeping it real. But in reality, as you just saw, he's doing the exact opposite. He's doing nothing but jujitsu there. He's doing mental gymnastics on a level I've never seen before from anybody. How many times did Chuck Todd, and credit to him, by the way, for doing this, ask the question directly? He's like, okay, great, whatever, I'll grant you all that. What do you do with the 11 million people? Well, you know, first what we need to do, I'm Ted Cruz, first we need to do is secure the border, and then maybe after that we'll kind of sort of have a conversation not really about doing something, I'm Ted Cruz, And Chuck's like, okay, great, whatever. I get it, you don't have to work at everything all at once, yada yada, but what do you do once we're at that point? Borders secure, then what? Go. What do you want to do? Well, I wouldn't buy into the framework of the Democrats and what they're saying and how we should focus on this. And I would say that the way to approach this is there's a lot of bipartisan support in the country, and we got to look at the other people before we even... Shut the fuck up! Get to your fucking point, asshole! But that's the thing, he doesn't have a point. He doesn't have a point because Ted Cruz is not a guy who gives a single solitary shit about policy substance. You know what he is? He's a narcissist. He's an egomaniac. He wants power for power's sake. So however he can get to power, he will do that. He's going to suck up to corporations and lobbyists and special interests and billionaires, try to ride a wave to get to the top, and then once he's there, he wants you to praise him, and then he'll think, yes, more praise, feed my ego, I need it. But the entire time, he doesn't want to do the hard work to get there. He doesn't want to actually represent the people. He doesn't want to have intelligent policies that earn your trust and your love. He just wants you to love him for the sleazy fucking politician that he is that doesn't know how to answer a question directly. And the most important part of this entire conversation, what's the only policy thing he would keep going back to there? Wasn't answering the question of what do you do with the 11 million. But he kept saying, well, secure the border, man. Okay, secure the border, right? So that's what you're concerned about. Hey, asshole. every single Democratic immigration proposal, whether it was from the House of Representatives or the Senate, every single one that came up under the Obama administration had multiple provisions on securing the border. There were some drafts of it that gave Texas drones to fly on the border to stop anybody from crossing. Billions of dollars more was spent on border security in every single Democratic proposal. They gave the Republicans every little sweetener in the deal that they wanted. And the Republicans still trying to say, no, we're not going to do it. We just told you we're going to give you what you want. Well, we don't want what we want. How about that? So this idea of like, oh, the Democrats, they're just so unreasonable. They won't secure the border and then take care of a path to citizenship. They don't want to do that, so we're not even going to have a conversation here. But wait a second. They gave you that. They said, yes, we'll secure the border as long as we can do a path to immigration. And you said, no, now I don't want to do that. So it's all bullshit anyway, because he's pretending like the Democrats are not for sealing the border and they haven't proposed it when they did propose it, and it was your party that said, I don't want to secure the border now. So you're the problem, tough guy. You're the problem. But of course, he doesn't understand that, he's the one that can't give a direct answer. He's the one that has no policy proposals. He's the one that has no substance. He's the empty suit. He doesn't get that, but it's perfectly apparent and perfectly clear to everybody else who knows the facts.